Hi everyone. I'm sure that not a lot of people know this, but I'm someone who's really into film, um, specifically older ones that are more, that dive deeper into more unconventional aspects of life. I don't really like thrillers or like action movies or things like that. I prefer films that are more gray on the genre scale, if that makes sense. So I've always wanted to talk about films that I like on my channel, but I've always thought that it was going to be a little too niche because if you guys haven't seen the films that I want to talk about, then it kind of defeats the purpose for you. But you know what? It's my channel. I can talk about whatever I want. I mean, I want to make this channel into like a diary journal kind of thing. So why not talk about the things that I like? Right. So in today's episode of film review or whatever, insert like a cool intro that I'm not gonna do. I'm going to talk about my favorite film, or one of my favorite films of all time, which is Raise the Red Lantern, which was, I think it's a 1991 film if I'm not wrong, by director Zhang Yimou. And it was, after it was released and it received critical acclaim, it was adapted into like a ballet performance thing, which it's something that I think is really cool. So regarding the plot of the film, you basically follow this Chinese girl called Song Lian, who kind of becomes the fourth wife of a really wealthy man in China. It was like during like the warlord era, something like that. So the movie is basically just about how she adjusts to her new life, coming from a poor family, marrying rich into this new household. But that's the catch. Like, it's not really about what's happening or what she's doing to adapt. It's more so how this adaptation feels like for her and for the people around her. So there's this daily rhythm that is ongoing throughout the first few minutes of the film, kind of setting the scene. There's a daily rhythm, like this beautiful traditional Chinese rituals that appear to be really pretty and systematic and joyful to be a part of initially, because I don't want to spoil too much, but the main character initially, she was really proud to be chosen. She's just, it's a film that focuses a lot on using emotions to tell a story, right? So basically, back to these rituals, like these beautiful rituals, and then through repetitions you begin to slowly shift your perspectives on these rituals. Initially you would think that if a certain goal was chosen for the night, it's something to be proud about. But through these frequent observations of how characters feel about so and so, being picked, you realize that it's not really a beautiful ritual. It's more so an oppressive system, and I think it's this really unique way of telling a story through seeing the reactions of people around the main character. That's something that is very subtle in storytelling, and it's something that I feel is really lacking in modern films. Right, so I've watched this film like maybe 10 times, maybe less. I think I'm exaggerating. I think maybe like six times. So I realized that what really got to me wasn't a part of it was how the film looked. Don't get me wrong. It's a beautifully shot film. I think it was shot in Sichuan in China. I might be wrong though, but I think so. Not that it matters. The cinematography, the the way the film was shot visually was stunning. But what really got to me was how the film sounds, or how it doesn't, There is really barely any music to fill space. It's mostly just footsteps, the wind, because, during the winter period, there's like wind and stuff, hearing the lanterns clacking on each other, fabric moving, like very little things that are often overlooked in film. And somehow this lack of an orchestra playing in the background makes you focus and feel everything so much more. It's like you're right there. Like, I don't know how to put it into words, but it's like your body just sits. I just sit up whenever things like this happen. And it's like I'm forced to pay attention more without even realizing it. And I think that aside from sound, the best films, best is subjective, obviously, so the films that I enjoy the most are the ones that are okay with space. They are the films that are okay with the concept of leaving things as they are and allowing the audience time to digest whatever's going on. We live in such a fast-paced world. We have movies that could be 5 hours long, crammed into a 2-hour long movie. And because of that, everything's just on the go, on the go, on the go. Things are just happening. But to me, I feel that the best films are the ones that are okay with the idea of just letting the course of time run with nothingness. Because I feel that this gap really allows you the time. It's kind of like the director giving you time to breathe. A lot of people think that filmmakers might use space just to, lengthen the movie, which I feel is completely stupid, because I don't think why. Like, it's just a bad argument to me. But an intentionally drawn out length of time of nothingness is to me more impactful, 100 times more impactful than a film that tells you how to feel in that time frame. So, an example of this would be Tarkovsky, who is my favorite filmmaker of all time. Tarkovsky is someone who really understands space. He understands the value of nothing. Yeah, and this film, not to speak about Tarkovsky because I can go on, but this film, Raise the Red Lantern, uses space so well. It gives you so many opportunities to think about what the characters are feeling, to put yourselves in the shoes of, the main character, Song Lian, or, any other characters, the other mistresses or whatever. It allows you to think, which is something that is just refreshing to see, given the state of film today. And the funny thing is, it's so haunting. Zhang Yimou's use of space in this film is deeply haunting. This film isn't a horror it's in no way a horror movie, you know. At parts, it's even comical, seeing the reactions of how, just, you know, it's so fun to mock at certain systemic oppressions that take place in film because you're not going through it. But the use of space lets you take a step back and think, oh, I don't really think it's that funny now. And this space is perfectly coupled in this film with just brilliant acting from Gong Li, who is the main character, and all the other characters, honestly. Just peak acting, peak portrayal of emotions. They just understand the characters so well that the space works because you start to sympathize with them, and then you start to understand just how messed up these routines are. You know? I can go on and on, but I mean, I don't want to get rambly. So yeah, I mean, I guess that's why I think Raise the Red Lantern is arguably the best film that I've ever seen. Not really because it wowed me in a certain way or aspect. It's more so because of how it slowed me down. You know? It made me sit with things that I usually ignored. It gave me time to reflect and resonate with its characters. It didn't tell me what to feel, you know. It just gave me the space to feel it. So yeah, let me know if you guys enjoy reviews or deep dives like this, and maybe I'll make more in the future. Maybe I won't. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.